eternity in their hearts. We're going to do some more of this. Ready? Okay. Knock this thing out. We've got Hawaiians to look at this time. This will be interesting. They have the 35,000 Yali cannibals in New Guinea that you could hang out with. The name came from the people they were chasing who said, who were yelling. So they called them the Yali cannibals. Keep those guys. Keep them away from us. We've got a connection that he's drawing here with these cannibals, and that's a great story with these two who are from the tribe out there just doing their own thing when the cannibals show up and decide to shoot them with arrows and maybe make a meal out of them, and then they're going, whoa, and the one brother, of course, dies, and the other one's standing inside on the other side of the rock wall, and they go, well, how in the world did that work? And come up with this whole city of refuge, or an area of refuge, where you don't want to cross over, you don't want to get God's angry at you, you don't want to miss out on whatever it is that the gods may have for you, but the rest of the people would kill you if you come back, if you violate this thing. You go, how in the world did they come up with that? So we have, this time, we have refuge, so you get that in our stories. He's beginning to deal with these different aspects of this. This thing is just amazing how it ties together. And the relationship of that kind of an idea that has floated around in one culture, that's in New Guinea. That's a long way from Hawaii. And those two are a long way from Israel. And yet they all have this similarity, the same kind of an idea of a sacred spot that you can go to that's safe. And of course, our games that we play as kids, you got a place that's safe. You get to that, whatever that area is, and you go, wow, that's just weird. It's in the culture, and that is protected.
One thing I liked about what he said about the cities of refuge, that was where you went to, at least in Israel, it's where you went to await judgment because the accidentally killed somebody or something like that. But, and of course they couldn't leave, but that our judgment has already been, so that when we flee for refuge, that's just, we've been judged and delivered by Jesus, so that we don't, even if we, of course, we want to leave the refuge, but I mean, no matter where we go, we're covered.
He is our refuge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We'll take it. Bring that with us.
And so, and we don't have to be like, they waited there until they could be judged, and we don't have to just, anyway, it just really struck me that Jesus has taken our punishment, so it's not like we're waiting to go before a judge. It's like we're already taken care of.
It's done. Yeah. It's true. They were amazing at just knowing not to violate that, whichever culture it was. Just that's still a thing.
Him telling that story, though, really did, I'm kind of embarrassed because
I knew about the cities of refuge, Old Testament, and then the scriptures that say he's our refuge in Old and New Testament. But it never hit me that the picture of that until, he refers to what happened to these people and what they did. And I thought, oh my gosh, it makes it even more meaningful.
Yeah.
I had always loved the concept of God is my refuge, my safe place, but this makes it just kind of, I guess, building on what she was saying, just even more meaningful. Amazing.
Yeah. And you're watching your brother get shot full of arrows right there
Yeah.
over the wall, but they don't shoot at you. You go, man, this really works.
And we actually see it in life.
Mm-hmm.
We see people's lives falling apart and they don't know Jesus. And we know what will help them, but they don't. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah. Except this person did want to get to refuge. He just didn't want
Get me over the wall.
That was
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. So true. Those are,
Symbolically, him not shooting his arrow back at the enemy. Do you want to? Could you expand on that a little bit? Because I want to shoot.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
I just think it's cool that
Yeah.
nope, you don't violate it either
Everybody
way.
knows- yeah.
Yeah, you just stop. Shoot the brother outside the wall. Yeah. That was, and then they don't take him. They don't have him for dinner and nothing. Just, nope, gotta leave. But yeah, that's pretty amazing. And that these are cannibalistic, wild people, and they have rules that they follow, and they are dead set on keeping them. You can kill the other guy, that's okay, and have him for dinner, but you can't go over that wall. Yeah, that spiritual reality that is there. That's why he even comments on the eternity in their hearts, that there's something built in that you just don't violate that. You go, wow, it's pretty intense. Killing people, eating people, but you don't violate the go over the wall thing. Wow. Because it's a spiritual reality. You'd think there was something to this whole spiritual thing.
Another reason, I think, and when the brother on the one side won't get shoot, he was saying, well, they're not shooting at me, so why should I shoot back?
Could have.
I think the tendency, though, wouldn't it be, even in war, we go to our safe place, but we shoot over the wall at them, and we don't,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
And they just
But-
killed your brother. You might want to shoot.
Yeah. I know
But-
it's a different, but I'm thinking that there is a connection to that.
The rule was you
But yeah, that's-
can't violate this either way.
Right, wow.
Yeah. Nope.
Well, I missed last week, but I read it. I'm still, the being born again
Yeah.
symbol from like that you all discussed. Holy moly, that's amazing. I can still hardly even believe that one
In the culture.
in their culture.
Yeah.
That was so picturesque. Yeah. And now here's another one, and more.
And more. Yeah. Finding the key to the culture is so important. So,
I love the way he's telling it, like, you are discouraged. No one's coming to the Lord, and you're reading about all these other groups, and they've been, and you're ready to send that letter to the home office saying, I think I need to go elsewhere.
yeah.
And then they started finding these links.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it unlocks and hearts are opened and
Yeah.
yeah. Eternity in their hearts.
How do you pronounce that one temple? I'd like to hear somebody say that.
But
That one,
I-
P.
In Hawaii or where?
Well, English or Hawaiian.
Oh, I meant that.
It's
That's what we're
Hawaiian,
talking
yeah.
about.
oh, the one, yeah, the Puhu Honoa O Hanau now, because I actually looked up, had them pronounce it for me. Because I went, wow, it sounds cool. It's a park,
King something.
and it has, yeah, you can pull it up on YouTube, and it'll take you to the park, and they'll talk about it and what this thing did, and it's kind of cool. They had a big wall too.
And it's neat, they said at one time there were about 20 of those throughout the Hawaiian Islands, cities of refuge.
They need to, yeah, because stuff happens. And they got no normal, like insurance companies and civil court. I mean, they kings and things could make decisions, but man, you need a city, you need someplace to go. And even in Israel, I got 5 of them, you go, man, I think we need more than 5. That's a long run.
Yeah.
I killed somebody, now I got a hook. They said it was a straight road though. That was good. But you got to run a long way to get there. So if you're an explorer, English explorer, running around these islands and there are cannibals, do you want your last name to be Cook? Just wondering. You're invited for dinner. We're going to cook. Ah! Yeah, that one in Hawaii is amazing. And I love how they describe it, the shelter. Garden, a grove of coconut palms, spring bubbled with fresh water, beach is right there so you can go swimming or go fishing. In Hawaii. Oh, bummer. That's just pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, bummer. I must have killed somebody accidentally. Can I live there? Just, wow. Yeah, these are pretty amazing. Tying all of these different stories together, just, I think he did a great job of seeing that in the cultures. Tying together the Hawaiians and the Yali, Jewish people, I mean, all of this stuff is like, wow. Psalm 31:1, he says, "In you, O Lord, I have taken refuge. Let me never be put to shame." Yes. It's just some good stuff.
And yet that was interesting, he kind of shed more light on what that put to shame.
Yeah. And he ties it in the book of Hebrews. We fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. Yes. We need Jesus. So yeah, we'll take that refuge. keep those arrows from flying. Yeah, that one's a good one. We have some Chinese too. So the missionaries were showing up, trying to figure out how to unlock that culture. And they run into the Chinese writing system. Holy moly. So what'd you guys think of that?
This one was my favorite part.
Because Jesus is the Word, and Logos, and he shows up in their written and spoken language, and it just really made me happy. It was so cool.
It is, yeah, it is so cool. So many bits and pieces in their language that tie in. I love how just explaining the symbols to a Chinese person and then how that just worked in their heart, and they go, oh, it's already here. We already know about that.
I didn't realize those symbols were called radicals, but that is radical. To have that many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine the keyboard when they're trying to work on their laptop. And the Chinese are really big on working on laptops.
Okay, now you.
The
know
keyboard
how to
is
look
like
it up.
double stacked and it's little screen. That's a lot. There it is. This is vessel 8 people. That's it. So that means boat.
The same as on Noah's Ark.
Yep. So that's their thing. So when they saw that and they go, oh yeah, that's a boat. But their symbol is a vessel, 8 people. And you go, wow. That is just so crazy. Just cool how they were putting those things together. And the tree and who's in the tree, and you go, whoa. These symbols really do carry a lot of meaning. And God is using it to speak to them. How would you like to be a missionary over there and try to figure that out? That's a whole different way of thinking and writing and symbols and wow. I like that though. I, under the Lamb, am righteous. It's like, wow. Radical. That's just radical stuff. Well, I like that. Yeah, I like that whole thing. They did, there's a whole book on that whole, I'm looking at the last part of that, where the soldier's eyes opened wide, and he said, I was told that Christianity was a foreign devil's religion. Now you show me that the writing system of my own country preaches it. Wow. But that foreign devil idea is just all through their culture. And when the missionaries started showing up there, it became that was kind of the tagline for every European missionary that came, foreign devil. And it actually had missionaries. There were people who took the gospel to them. You know, the Silk Road goes from Europe all the way through the Middle East over to China. So that road is just north of Israel. So, well, not just, but a ways up. You can catch that road and go. They took it. They took the gospel. They took the gospel across the Middle East. They took all the places like Mosul in Iraq. And you go, yeah, you know, so we have a whole different meaning to that depending, you know, because of the recent war and the things that are going on. But like, and Matthew's, the apostle Matthew, he's over there starting churches. And you go, oh, so this has been going on a while. There's stuff that's happening in those same areas, same towns, and they have a history that goes way back. A lot of them still called Chaldean churches, but they're still around. And those people have a connection back historically to the apostles. And it's really cool. And then some of them just kept going on the Silk Road and made it to China. So we got people that were, and maybe they did influence how they were putting these symbols together back, you know, that's 2,000 years. It could have happened, I guess. Then the recent missionaries, or the ones that he's talking about, started again in the 1800s is really the big movement to go to China. So then the whole missionary thing takes off again. And there's so many Chinese, and then you got to figure out the lettering like this, and it's wow. Then we have North American Indians. Oh my gosh, from Alaska to Panama, from Baja California to Labrador. Whew. All this stuff keeps showing up. The number 4. We got that whole thing going on. That becomes a great way to talk to them, open doors. I love how he's tied this in. The Navajo, 4 sacred mountains, and they'll all talk about the winds, four directions, the rain-making dance, 4 sets of 4 horses, and the swastika that, the Nazis kind of took over, but the Native Americans, Apache Navajo, they had that. That was a symbol, actually, the 4 arms. So that was before it got misused, I guess. It was an important symbol. Nobody wants to use it now. But those things were all over the place.
I love how they said the 4 spiritual laws were very effective.
Yes,
That's pretty cool.
it is very
And
cool.
it wasn't designed for that purpose, and yet here's another link in keeping
Yeah, it
that
was
works. Wow.
works so well. Yeah. We did a mission trip from Colorado, and we were going to the Navajo. So we go out to the tribe and found out about the 4 and the 4 spiritual laws. So we decided, well, let's just include that. So we put together they have this giant gathering in Cayenta, and Monument Valley, where the big rocks stick up and the mitten and all that stuff. So it's right by that. And they gather, and they get a check from the mining and stuff that happens on the reservation. So they get money, and so they come together and they have this big kind of outdoor fair kind of a thing. And so got permission to set up out there, and filled a Bronco with we pulled a trailer full of books. So we set up, backed this thing in, and had all kinds of different books, Christian comic books, different kind of books that we could use, stuff that we could find in Navajo. Then we printed up 4 spiritual laws using their Bible and using Navajo, putting in those verses in Navajo for the 4 spiritual laws. And people would flock to get all of those things because of the 4 thing. And it was just a draw. And it was cool to see them. And we didn't charge for any of the books and stuff. We raised money to get all that. So,
Did you know the connection of the 4 when you did that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I just didn't remember.
yeah. And, yeah, we just decided to build on that whole idea of the 4 spiritual laws. Just put it into their thing and then print it off our own version. And not all of them were big on having it in Navajo. The others were fine with just give me the English. Just give me that yellow booklet. I'll take the booklet. But it really did work, and they really did line up to get that stuff, and it was kind of cool. But the 4 thing, because when we got there, we started learning about their culture, and the 4 mountains were a big deal, and they point out what was what, and you go, okay, I better look into this, and that's how kind of wound up going that direction. Howdy. It's neat. So the numbers make a difference depending on the culture, and the lettering makes a difference, or the radicals or the images make a difference, or sacred places make a difference. Each one of those things is communicating something, and we have certain numbers that mean something to us, like 13. We love that one. So a lot of hotels don't have a 13th floor. It just because of what that means in the culture. And for these guys, the number 4 is nearly magical. Throw out 666, even though nobody knows what it means. They just know, oh, it can't even be on their credit card. Look at these, I gotta have another credit. It's got 666 in here with 13 other numbers, but I can't have that number here on my credit card because, bad stuff. Why? So what is it? Well, number of the beast. Yeah, what is that? I don't know. Nobody knows. That's why we're scared. We're grown-up people. We go, wow, we're going to make fun of these people in some other culture. And you go, yeah, change my phone number. It's got 666. Yeah.
So do you think there is a tie between scripture and the four? Like especially number 6 in the book, but is there
Like
a
7.
God-ordained sacred for upholding order in the universe?
No, but he's, the symbols, because we give them meaning, and God will use that and use that meaning, and he will give us, even like 7, that's complete, and you go, okay, God is 3, and you put those together, but yeah, 4 represents the wholeness or nature in biblical terminology. So then you put that with the 3, and then you get the whole, that's all perfect and complete in 7. And then, but the numerology, it works for symbolism. It's not magical to have it written on us or tattooed on us or on the side of the building. It just, he's going to use it in ways to communicate. Let's see. We have the 1,000. So 1,000 shows up. So you got multitudes of 10 there, and so you put these kind of numbers together and you go, okay, so one day is like 1,000 years for the Lord. And in our Western mathematical scientific reasoning, we go, so 1 equals 1,000. Now we're going to figure out, so the Lord's coming back because there's 2,000 years before the flood, there's 2,000 years to Jesus, and we got 2,000 years, we're 6. Oh, we're getting close because look at the numbers. They go, it's one day, it's a week. Jesus, God, just a week, 7 days. That's 7,000. That's not what he meant. Well, he said he's going to have this 1,000 years of this perfect time on earth. I go, you know what? The 1,000 represents some incredible thing that he's doing that gives us an image without giving us a specific time frame. It's the image of his rule. It's the image of this thing that takes off. It's a multiple. He's not giving us, well, you can expect it in April on the 20th at 8 p.m. Because, nope. And that's, it wouldn't take you long if you look on YouTube and people are using those numbers for that purpose. And he isn't. He's, when Jesus comes back, it's actually going to be perfect for all time. So it's bigger than 1,000. But we've got a lot of different things in the scripture that are given to us to give us an idea of this. God's timing is not our timing. So 1,000, so multiply your 1 1,000 times. That's how different he is from what we are. So those numbers kind of play those roles. If they're important in the culture, though, just like this brought salvation. 4 brought salvation to a bunch of people. Lots of Navajo are believers, and it's really cool. And they do respond to those kind of things, and they have a heart. They have a heart for the Lord. I just thought of this. I'd like to check and see if the Mongolians have an interest in the number 4, too. When we were working with the Navajo, one year they had sent one of their own from the church we were at, a believer. They send him over to Mongolia, and he goes, and when he comes back to give his report is the day our mission group's sitting in there and hearing this story, and the guy's talking about how much they built their little dwellings were like their 8-sided hogans. And you're going, okay, That's interesting, with the hole in the middle of the roof for the smoke to get out, the whole thing. With the door facing east, it's just how it is, same thing. And he said, that was interesting. Some words were similar, and he said, then we sat down to eat, and there was some kind of stew, and he said it was the same recipe as home. I go, wow. Yeah. That part of it is just so amazing. So amazing. But there may have the fourth thing may be there too. I don't know. But I think it's cool that shows up. I don't think it's a secret messaging thing, but I think the Lord builds on symbols all the time, and it works in a culture, and then we can transfer it to new cultures. The Christian culture is built on this whole Hebrew Old Testament thing as we come, and then the New Testament's added into that. So we got Hebrew, Middle Eastern, Mesopotamian stuff tied in with Greek and Roman, and then we come up with European culture out of which we emerge. And I go, wow. He's used all of those different bits and pieces, and he communicated to all these cultures and got us here. Like, that's just so amazing.
You know, you've really worked on trying to help us learn to listen, to be curious, to observe, and I think that's what this gentleman, I mean, obviously, he studied, he listened, he observed, watching for a key, and God has the key, but sometimes we rush ahead of that, but he waited, and I think it's really neat that the Lord shows that he will show a way to reach someone if you really listen and watch and observe. So it's been very encouraging to reread this after so many years.
Yeah.
Because you kind of tend to forget that, but I thought that's really what you have been trying to get us to do more as well, to really listen for the Lord.
Yeah, he does that in individuals, families, different groups, and whole cultures. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. He has a lot to say that way. And he's trying to unlock our hearts. He's trying to get us to respond, to hear what he has to say. And we sometimes are very stubborn about that. And missionaries, and we talked about this before, often show up in these places with the best of intentions, wanting to help people come to know Jesus. But then when they get there, they want to make them like their culture back home instead of going, okay, so what's happening here? What's God doing here? You guys dress different, or you don't dress at all. And you go, you're going to have to get over it. Just get over yourself and communicate the gospel. And Jesus already knows them, and he already knows their names, and he already knows how they're dressed and their culture and what numbers they like. He knows all of it. And we go in there with our big highfalutin ideas, and you need to look like us, talk like us. Well, that's that Jungle Book thing again.
That's part of us older generation, though, maybe not reaching the younger generation. We may live in the same country, but we are from different cultures. I mean, truly. And if we're not willing to try and understand them, we won't reach them.
Got to have some riz.
If we want to make them do it our way, which I try that in class all the time, it doesn't work. So just trying to, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
But many a church would not change or will not and can only sing the old hymns or only dress the old, or whatever it is, without, and then someone young comes in and they're so bizarre and so different. And I've been there. I mean, like, for someone to walk in with a cap on can send me, and then it's like, it's a cultural thing. It has changed. I don't necessarily need to change them on something like that. But I just find it amazing that you don't even have to go to a foreign mission field. It's happening here right where we are.
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, as well. And I struggle with it, so I'm saying it as a older person who struggles with the younger generation and understanding what is it that yeah, I'm not saying they're necessarily right, but are we necessarily right on some of it? And maybe the Lord could give us a key to,
Yeah, looking for the key is
yeah.
main thing, yeah. Wasn't that long ago, women couldn't wear pants in church.
Yep.
That was,
Or teach. There was a day when they couldn't wear pants to teach. Yeah, but, yeah.
have to have a doily on your head.
I used to wear a doily on my head. Episcopal church. At any rate, I just want us to be mindful because most of us in this church, we're old, not all. A couple youngins right here, but I want us to, I just hope we keep listening and observing and trying to find keys to our culture that we live in that seems so crazy and we rant and rave about it. It's like, we can rant and rave, but this is our culture.
Yeah, and that's true from young, old,
Yeah,
male, female,
true.
all of it. You go, no, it's gotta be everything, not rich, poor, yeah.
We have to be sure we don't throw a baby out with that.
And that's happened a
Right, it
bunch.
doesn't change the gospel.
No.
It doesn't change truth, but how can we help them see the truth?
Mhm.
Listen to them and see what they're
Yeah.
about. And guide them through it.
Yeah, yeah,
Part of what I've taken away from it is, like, it's not necessarily just a young old thing like you're saying, I think culture around us is changing. It's just different from even 10 years ago. And we need to probably communicate the gospel to current culture. But it's even different, our culture from here in Oklahoma to Texas to California to New York. And so I think just having that understanding and being able to find keys that people have embedded in their culture. I mean, even just going into places in Tulsa are completely different from what you grew up here prior, or Claremore, or Foyle.
Falls is special.
Yeah. So it's finding this niche, but what I also really appreciate about Luke is that he's also very careful to say you have to, just because there's some similarity to Christianity doesn't mean that it's
Right.
the right thing.
yeah.
You have to evaluate it. And actually really start applying your scripture and maybe evaluate that thing and see if it actually is something that is usable or not. So,
Yeah, yeah, and then redirect them when you figure out a way to make sense of it, and then direct them in that path, yeah. It really does make a difference. But that being humble enough to do that is in many churches, many Christians missing. Because being humble sucks, and most people prefer ego and pride and my way, and everybody else is an idiot. And even if we don't say that, we're Christians because we wouldn't say that. But we, in our heads, in our hearts, feel it, think it. Yeah, you're an idiot, and if you weren't an idiot, you wouldn't do it that way. And yet God sent us here to go, I sent you to be the bridge, to go present love and truth, and dang it. That means we'd be humble before him too, and you go, I don't care how big you are. I'm going to do it my way, which really never has worked out for anybody, but there we go. But yeah, this is cool to see that and to want to find those keys in that culture. Hudson Taylor's book, I don't know if you've ever read his biography, but he was one of those who went to China in the 1800s, 1850s, and all the way through 1900s, and hit his China Inland Mission. He gets there with the normal British compound. They show up in China. So there's a British, they put big walls around their little compound. They're going to be British. They're going to have tea. They're going to have their normal British foods, normal British way of doing things. They're going to dress like they do in London, and then go out and tell these people they need to straighten up and get it right with Jesus. And the Chinese are going, and you guys look weird. So they don't really have much to do. They've learned the language, some of it, and it's like not working. Hudson Taylor shows up there. He goes, when he's in London, before he goes, he has a heart. God directs him that way. He goes, I'm going to go and take the gospel to this, because they knew then that China had the largest population of anywhere on earth. So he's going, I got to go take the gospel. And he goes as a young man. He's trained in medical stuff before he goes. So he goes to help get the gospel and also treat people. And he's in the compound with everybody. And they get a certain amount of money. That there's whoever's raising the funds for this mission get some kind of stipend or something. And he started going out and visiting with the Chinese and realized this isn't working. So he's looking for that key that we're talking about. And he realized, well, part of it is we don't dress like them. We just make fun of them. And so we're going to learn the language. I'm going to dress like them. And then I'm going to actually listen, talk to them, listen to them, connect with them, eat their food, eat their kind of food. And you go, well, that just doesn't work for a British person, because, they use chopsticks and things. So he changed. All of a sudden, Chinese are coming to the Lord, and the compound people, the mission that he was with, said, dude, you can't do that, because that ain't right, So he has to take off. So he's no longer part of the mission that was sent over there with this organized group out of England. He takes off and starts this other China Inland mission. And he says, I'm just going to trust the Lord to bring in, like George Mueller, I'm going to trust the Lord to bring in the funds needed to carry this thing out. So he'd pray and look to the Lord for that. And he dressed, found the keys to the culture, began talking to the people, and then others found out what he was doing. And then hundreds of people were eventually coming over to be part of China Inland Mission. And they went all up the Yangtze. They went all over the place in China, reaching people with the gospel, because they weren't doing it from a compound and you got to be like us. And, they get a few people doing that. But his method was, let's go unlock the culture. Let's get to know these people. Let's get the gospel out to them. And it changed everything. It's a good read. Hudson Taylor. That's a pretty good one. Let's pray. We're going to get ready for another thing's coming up here. Father, thank you for some time. Thanks you for these missionaries who have gone out with a heart to really connect with people, to listen to them, to see in their culture something that points to you, and to help them find you in the midst of it. And Lord, we are on our planet, and with the people we're around, we're responsible to do the same thing. So I pray for our eyes to be open, our hearts to be wrenched for those who are far from you, that we would listen to you, to uncover that which it would be the key for people to find you. And let us be the bridge. Thank you for this time together. In Jesus' name, amen. And we have, I think we're go up to evolutionary theory and Nazi racism. That sounds exciting.